Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Kuntres. We're going to start Maimer Yud Aleph. And this is sort of the last Maimer in this section, and then we're going to go into a different section. Another interesting section. Next section is going to be discussing how a person does things and thinks they can get away with it, and no one's going to notice. How ultimately it doesn't work. We'll start off the Shiur by giving tzedakah. And this whole series, as we've been discussing, is in honor of all the Yidden in Eretz Yisroel and all the soldiers and all the hostages that are unfortunately still in captivity, that they should all be safe, well, healthy, and specifically Yosef Yitzchak ben Simcha, and also for Kim bas Miri Pinas. They should be safe, healthy, okay, let's start Maimer Yud Aleph, Perak Aleph. Just before we start, a quick story that's connected. So many years ago, living Chassidus, we should do a Shabbos afternoon Seder Nigunim. Like a sort of Mincha Ma'ariv, going out of Shabbos, we'll do Seder Nigunim. So one time, the neighbor, I think it was it was the next door neighbor. The next door neighbor came and said, Hashem hears when you sing quietly. And basically, she was complaining that it was too loud. The Nigunim, they were singing too loudly. So we're going to discuss today, how does this whole thing work when we daven? We speak loudly, quietly. Which one is the better way? Let's see. Maimer Yud Aleph, Perak Aleph. Zeo shekos on this, that is, it is written in Nehemiah. Veizaku b'kol gadol el Hashem elokeichem, that they cried out in a loud voice to Hashem their God. Now, the l'chayra, in a move on, seemingly it's not understood. Mao inyan kol gadol, what's this great voice? They like cried out, screamed out loud. V'haloi amar Rabbi Seinu Zechon l'bracha, didn't know Rabbi Seinu himself the brachas. Chavdal Adam base. Hamashmiya kela b'tfilasei, someone who davens very loudly. It shows that they have small faith. Why? It's like false prophets. Rashi explains in the Chsiv, it says Malachim Vayikru b'kol gadol, and they call that in a loud voice. But in Mekal, yeah, and they call it loud voice, meaning, why do we need to be loud when you daven? Hashem hears you if you're quiet. So what's this idea? Are we meant to be loud or not? So what we're showing is someone that is loud is Mekat Ne'emunah. They have little faith. I mean, they think that Hashem can't hear them, so they scream loud. It's like the story. There was a shliach that he came from not Washington, whatever. They're sitting near there, and he came. It was after Simchas Torah, and it was Kosher Bracha still. So he drove all the way down. It's a 4.5 hour drive to tell the Rebbe the good news. And he had like 4,000, I think he had 3,000 people throughout Yom Tov come by to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, celebrate Simchas Torah. So the Rebbe said to him, when he told him, because the Rebbe had 3,000 people over the Yom Tov, the Rebbe said to him, 30,000? So he said, no, 3,000. So the Rebbe said, 30,000? So he said it again. He goes, no, I had 3,000. I said, 30,000? And then he left, and he realized the Rebbe was trying to tell him, you're happy you had 3,000, but there's 30,000 you didn't. So he didn't finish the job. But the point is, someone who speaks loudly when they daven, to think that Hashem hears them. It's like the story that this literature girl was going back from seminary, like in a literature seminary, and the teacher told her that you have to be extra careful. This is a true story. You have to be extra careful when you're on the plane to do your mitzvahs, like Be more careful with your mitzvahs. So she said, why? So he goes, put you closer to Hashem. So this is a Makat Ne'emunah. You have small faith. You think Hashem can't hear you properly. But nevertheless, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim, Nohagul Hashmiya Kelam. But the custom is Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, that people are louder in their voices when they daven. Like Beis Yosef writes in Orach Chaim, brings down in Shulchan Aruch, Simon Kuf Aleph, Ubesefer Magen David Laharad Baz of David ben Zimra, and he says over there in Ois Tes, Zchus of Yosef Yitzchak, he says, "V'hinei, I'm going to tell you some wondrous and amazing idea. Hevanti, that I understood from the words of our rabbis. Ki hadavar hayoyt mipia adam, what comes out of the person's mouth, who nirsham ba'avir, it makes an imprint in the air, in the world. Ubekeya kama avirim, and it breaks through like the heavens, different, urakim. V'oila l'mayla goes up, kitov, really good, v'yasha and straight, who v'yetze b'kedusha, and it goes out in holiness. Asazai makrivin oisai lifnei mishamav ha'olam. Then they bring it up to Hashem, the one who said and the world was created. So through davening, that when the words that come out, it has an effect and it can pierce through the heavens all the way to Hashem. Valkein and Nagul Kol Yisrael, and therefore all the Jewish people have the custom, but Ta'akasam, when they cry out Al Tzara Hatzara, when it's pain, something really bad is happening. Likrei Bekel Gadol, they do it very loudly. So last place Reishim Gadol, to make a great imprint. Vayiv Ka'u Havim, and pierce through the heavens. Ad Kan Lashon, and this is his Lashon. So Harei, so Bahal, what we see here, so Chilek, we make a difference, a distinction. Telefamim, sometimes Harichim Likre Kol Gadol, you have to do it in a very loud voice. And that makes a big imprint. So essentially what we're showing, when we're coming out of this, if we want to analyze a little bit, that to daven loudly, thinking that Hashem will hear you better, is foolish. But when you daven loudly, because it's coming from the inner depth of you, not because you're trying to reach Hashem and he hears me better if I speak loudly, but because it's coming from inside of us, so then that's a lot. And that's what happens when you're real in pain. It comes from the Plimis Alev, from inside of you. So let's understand this a little. So letters, let's go back a step. We'll talk about the letters B'chlal in general and how this whole thing works. So letters, letters are revelation. We speak, we reveal. We speak with letters. Like it says in Yeshaya, Asa Berke came in the morning. The Kodim was there before the morning came. Hayacheshech, it was dark. The Helim and concealment. Shahu Enya and Halayla, which is the idea of night. Shahu Boiker, and when the light comes, meaning when day comes and then light, the revelation comes. Yeah, so night is darkness and morning is revelation. And letters reveal. There's different types of revelation, different types of way things get revealed. Like the light of pleasure. Like the light of revelation of Ratzon. Or the revelation of intellect, Hamidos, or the emotion, Shehem Giluyim Atzumim, which is a very, very strong, very great revelations. The Fi Erech Muslim, according to the level. So there's different types of revelations. V'yesh Giluye Eiros, Levushe Nefesh, Machshava Dibur, and also there's the revelation of the soul through thought and speech. V'chal Giluyim Heim Oisies, and all these revelations are really like letters and garments for the soul. Yeah, so we have different types of revelations, higher and lower, different levels. Akashen shebeishis hakasav, haksav. Hare b'cholus gimel mine oishiyoshein. In general, when you in writing, there's three levels. There's three general levels. There's hein gedolos, beinonos, beinonos, uktanos. You have large, medium, and small letters. Now, it doesn't mean the letter itself, like a lamed is a large letter and a yud is a small letter. It means when you write those letters, you can write them small, large, and big. Asher b'sfiros elyonos hein b'dargos chalukos. That above in the higher worlds, there are different levels of this. Kamayma asvan rav ravin b'sfiras habino. So the big letters are coming from the level of bino. Asan beinonin, the medium level letters b'sfiras zar come from the zar, the six emotive attributes. Vasvan ze'erin, and the small letters spheres of malchus is the level of malchus. Sarei masha is nichteves gedela. So the fact that a letter is written big, it's because it's from a higher level. Bina is higher than the six emotive attributes and higher than malchus. Even though it's the same letter. So you can write a small yud, a medium yud, and a large yud. And based off how it's written, and I think this is more so like in the Torah, based off how it's written, is where it's coming from. So too with the voice. Because Kol Gadol, when you have a great voice, when you're crying out loudly, it's showing like this big letters that is coming from a way above and beyond. Coming from above to below. Like I said, Matan Teira in Shemais. The curl shofar chazak moed, and a very strong voice. Uksiv, and it says in Devarim, curl gada b'le'asaf. It was a great voice and didn't stop. That it permeated everything. That's all from above. That's great voice coming from Hashem. Also from below. Kamoy Nechemia says, "Veizaku b'kel gadol." We call it with a great voice. Uksivinyeno, v'ikru el alikim b'chazka, and we call it to Hashem with strength. The kel gadol magia l'mayl yesa, and simple when we scream out, not because we think Hashem can't hear, but because it's coming from deep within us. So then it reaches a higher level. L'fishahu mipnimis alev, it's coming from the inner depth of the heart. Because the idea, whatever it is that you're crying out about, it's really related. It's negea to you. It affects you. The pnimius levavai mishum zeh hu tzayek b'kol, and that's why we're screaming out in this great voice. Yes, when we're crying, when we're screaming because we want Hashem to listen, so then we're katnei emunah, we miss the point. But when we're screaming out because it's coming from deep within us, so that's very good, and that reaches a very high level. So therefore, this that we say that a person that screams out when he's davening, they have a little bit of it, they have small emunah. Rashi, because the reason is like Rashi said, because the person is making it as if he thinks Hashem can't hear, he's quiet. If I speak quietly, Hashem won't hear. And so he has to go very loud. Also, it's a problem because you don't want to confuse others. Sometimes people are very loud, so it distracts. So calls it who bistam tefillah. This is just general davening. We shouldn't be screaming out, and you have to not disturb people. To be quietly. But in the time of tzara, distress for the Jewish people, the inner depth of us, which is that inner connection we have with Hashem. It's revealed by everyone. In a simple faith, by Hashem, to Hashem that makes these wonders. So when this distress comes out, and we're all in this spiritual awakening, then it's different. Vatam, the bilbul, lacherim, and the reason also, we said, what if you're going to scream out, you're still going to disturb other people, and they're going to get confused. So gamkein ein shayach az, on when we're all being the emunah pshuta is all being revealed within us because of whatever's happening. So in a shaykh us, you can't say that idea then. That's gonna confuse others. Because when you see someone else getting so inspired and davening with all this inner depth, so that arouses you to daven more. This area be tshuva, to do tshuva. And then you have to shout out. It's not like you come screaming your head off, of course, but it means like when you're davening loud, but the person is really into the davening, so then it doesn't affect someone else. The other person gets inspired, like, oh man, I should be davening better. Oh, I should be doing tshuva. Like things like that. Just finish it off. Then Rosh Kippur, we have to arouse that inner, it's like that time period that we have to arouse that inner desire from everyone. I explained elsewhere at length. God has to be with this arousal from the depth of our hearts, which also comes out with a loud voice. The Kitzur. A letters are revelation, like it says, it comes in the morning. The revelation of the koiches of the garments of the soul. It's like letters. There's gimel dagas, and in letters in general, there's 3 levels. There's the gedolos, beinonos, ketanos, the big, medium, small. So too with the voice, and that voice expresses itself in different stages, situations. And when you daven, it has to be from this great voice because it's coming from the depth of your heart. Sha'az here, his galus nakuda, his kashus, gam lacherim l'tshuva. So then, when it's the kol gada, when this great voice, but it's coming from the depth of the heart, because we're really sincere and really into it, not just for other people's like to other people to see me or to make sure God can listen, but because we really feel it, that arouses other people also to daven properly into the tshuva. So Mitzvah Hashem, all of us, we should daven with this kol gadol from the depth of our hearts, and we should really inspire ourselves, inspire others, and have an amazing day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.